What's good, you guys? Welcome back to another Because of Sales podcast. Marcos runs what could possibly be the biggest ghostwriting agency on the internet. Him and his team are behind the largest personal brands in the world. Any of these platforms where these people are writing written content, there's a decent chance they could be working with Marcos. This episode was actually pretty fun because I've known Marcos for a little bit now. And so this isn't really like a, hey, Marcos, what's up? What do you do? And tell me about it. This was a, what's going on, bro? Tell me about what is working right now for your agency and how you guys are booking so many calls and doing so much revenue for your clients. All these clients, by the way, that I know of are running a book a call funnel through social media. So they are selling things. They're not just posting content for the sake of being a celebrity. So really good episode with my boy Marcos here. Before we get into it, go down to that first link in the description and subscribe to our newsletter. It's free, always will be, always has been. And we basically just want to be your pulse on the state of selling. So I don't care if you're a sales rep or a business owner, what you're selling, who you're selling it to. We want to give you perspective. We want to help you sell more, make it easier, make you laugh a little bit. We want to be the newsletter of choice when you're drinking your morning coffee on Wednesday. So less than a 5-minute read. You can unsubscribe at any time. You won't want to. Anyways, go down there, subscribe. Now let's get into the podcast. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to the Because of Sales podcast. We are here with Marcos Ruiz, owner of the Birdhouse. Marcos, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. It's been a while. I think the last one was a year ago now.
Yeah, Marcos and I, we've done a podcast back in the day. If you listen to that one, you're an OG. Also, if you guys can hear thunder and lightning in the background, sorry about that, but we are in quite a storm here in Austin. Hyped to have you on. Happy or hyped, whichever one, they both work. So this is going to be a good one. For any of the guys that are listening that don't know really the world that we exist in, because we have a lot of people in all different industries selling things. What do you guys do at the Birdhouse?
I mean, really, it's crazy how much we've evolved. I used to say we were a ghostwriting agency. Then I was like, okay, we're kind of like a content agency. We're very much like fractional CMO now, just centered around Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, now threads.net's starting to come up. They just added a DM feature for all these sales guys who want to get hyped about new DM features. But yeah, we're really like fractional CMOs, but growth partner, whatever you want to call it, Twitter, LinkedIn, Threads, which is usually the apps that not a lot of people think about. So I think we're pretty much the biggest that do it.
Is it safe to say pretty much anywhere, any platform that's like written content?
Yeah, exactly. Except Blue Sky. We haven't got to Blue Sky. We haven't got to Reddit. I know scheduler that we use added Blue Sky. Listen, a year from now, probably going to do Blue Sky. We'll see. I like them all because it lets us get the most out of our writing.
I've heard a lot of people talking about Blue Sky. I see integrations to use Blue Sky, but I don't know anybody who uses it.
Yeah, the problem with Blue Sky with business is that it is a heavily left-leaning platform, and the reason is because the whole platform got its life because it was like the anti-movement of what Twitter did. And what I find is that the people over there, they hate people who sell stuff. And all our clients sell stuff. We'll see. It remains to be seen. I mean, this is one of my favorite things that happened is when Threads came out. All of the big name like influencers, podcasts, everything were saying like Threads is going to kill Twitter. Threads is going to take a huge market share of Twitter, of X. Never got anywhere close, to be honest, but it's existing, you know what I mean? And people use it. So I think it's just like a matter of doing them all.
Truth Social?
Truth Social, no. There was the other one too that I think Kanye started. I think it started with a P, not Patreon. It was something. Someone will say it maybe in the comments, but Kanye had one. Was it Parler? Truth Social. I downloaded Truth right when it came out just to secure my handle, but I don't think it ever caught wind for us.
You guys are, if not the largest, one of the largest content writing agencies out there right now. So you work with a lot of, I don't know, do you guys work with people outside of the coaching consulting space now?
Yeah, we really have two ICPs. We have, of course, Info, which is our baby. Started in Info. I love Info. OG coaches, consultants, stuff like that. But we also work with big names. Think like big name influencers. We'll happily just do content for those people. They're people that are really just trying to build brand and kind of grow platforms that they're not really used to. So we do have some of those as well.
Yeah. How are those clients versus the ones that are like, hey, I'm doing this for direct ROI?
There's a couple of things. For one, the deliverables becomes much more content focused, and things other than just like how many calls did we book or something start to matter. How many followers did we gain? What is our cost per follower if we're running ads? How many impressions are we doing? Are the followers great quality? Stuff like that starts to matter. And then also they tend to have a longer view. I'm sure you can imagine they're not going into it like, want to hit 100K followers this month. They're thinking like, can I grow my brand for the next year? Can I grow my, and I think it opens up the doors for just much bigger sales packages. You know what I mean? Like 5-figure, 6-figure packages.
Let's talk about this right off the bat because salespeople, business owners watching are like, this guy seems cool. He writes content for people. Why is he on the sales podcast? Because besides him helping write content that sells at scale for some people that you guys probably know, you sell all your own stuff. You still don't have a salesperson for your agency, right?
Yeah, I've been doing founder sales since day one. I honestly believe that founder sales to 8 figures is the play.
You said you got that from Gary Vee, right?
Partially Gary Vee and partially, I think it was Neil Patel, Eric Sue, one of those. All 8-9 figure agency owners. Basically, just looking at the people who have what I want, and I'm like, what are they doing?
I could agree. Unless you're selling some really not sticky, low-priced agency services, like super productized.
Viral cuts, like a productized service where you just need a normal sales rep where you could honestly click to close, stuff like that, of course. But we're obviously selling big rev share deals or 5-6 figure plus long packages.
How many sales calls do you think you've taken for Birdhouse?
Damn, a lot. I think I had on my CRM last year was a couple hundred. So probably like 500 to 1,000 at least, which is for B2B agency is a lot on top of not doing really any outbound.
I don't know the exact numbers of your business, but like one client probably will hopefully pay your agency 6 figures a year, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I love being transparent on numbers. Like last year, we did just shy of $1 million. This year, we'll do just shy of 2 million. We've been doubling every year for 4 years. And our LTV is, yeah, over 6 figures. I think our LTV is 150K, maybe more. It's a lot. Yeah, it's really high.
I know your sales process is a little bit different. It's slower, not a lot of pressure, a lot of custom stuff that you guys are doing. Do you still track your sales metrics super closely, like your show rate, close rate, cash collected, all that?
I honestly stopped tracking it this year in January, mostly because I realized I had it automated tracking for last year and I moved everything over from Notion over to Airtable. And I was like, I haven't looked at this in so long. It's still sending like call schedule, all that stuff to my old CRM, but no, I stopped tracking it. But before I stopped tracking it, my close rate, I think was 35%. My show rate's like 95%.
You run an agency, specifically a content focused agency. If we're looking at like a pie chart for leads altogether or just the ones that close, let's start with altogether leads that come into your funnel that book calls with you. On a pie chart, what's the distribution of the lead source? Like how many of those are one platform over another versus referral and all that?
I'd say probably like 10% or less is inbound through LinkedIn. Probably 40-45% is inbound Twitter and 40-45% is inbound referral. I don't do any outbound right now. I'd say like that final 10% encompasses like inbound from LinkedIn, YouTube, newsletter, and like random met someone at an event. And then the other, most of my lead flow is split evenly between my Twitter, which I have a big personal brand, big-ish, big for info, and then referrals.
What about the ones that
Funny enough, I think I wouldn't say they close better, but I'd say that probably equal in terms of close rate on inbound X and referral. And then I'd say everyone else closes a little bit worse just because I have a smaller brand, which leads to less authority. I'd say, funny enough, my inbound on Twitter, I honestly think it closes at a higher rate than referral. And the reason is that a lot of times the referrals don't know who I am prior. And then the inbounds from my social media obviously know who I am and have been consuming my content. Usually the traditional thing is like, oh, referrals close the best, but I actually don't necessarily think that's the case if you have authority or personal brand and nurture content and stuff like that.
Well, you have a lot of really good middle of funnel content like on YouTube and you've done a lot of podcasts with other people. That helps a ton. How much of a blow was it when Twitter got renamed to X?
Dude, I think I did a good job of turning a negative to a positive. First of all, at first I was annoyed by it because so many people were like, are you going to change to the X house? When this happened, we were Twitter only. I said like, oh, you're going to be the X house. You're going to be the X house. First of all, that sounds insane. The X house. Second of all, I actually think it showed, what I always tell people is I think it shows that we're like OG. We were existed before X. I don't want to be like chasing that, right? The people who would have changed it to the X house are the same people who would be chasing AI and chasing Web3 and chasing whatever the fuck's tomorrow, robot, like the robot house, the AI. You know what I mean? They switched to an AI agent offer, and next year they're going to switch to some sort of robot offer. But it definitely was annoying the first 6 to 12 months. And I got clients on sales calls who were like, oh, why are you still the Birdhouse? Or like, oh, you still call it Twitter X? But now it's funny. It's very interchangeable. It actually became pretty fluid. If you say Twitter X, no one really bats an eye.
I hate how the X thing, it's so bad for like any kind of SEO writing. It's so bad, bro.
The word X in any YouTube. I mean, this is another one of my YouTube issues is I can't freaking write X. It's so frustrating. I have to basically probably switch to Wiz. Wiz of Ecom does this well, just switching to personal brand and stuff, which is unbelievably saturated.
I've seen you, I think, do it where you put the logo because it has like a different, maybe that helps or.
I'm not sure if it helps. I know it definitely shows like I'm kind of like tapped in with it. So I've always used it, but I think it low key hurts SEO.
Yeah, because people don't search the logo, you know?
I honestly like, I physically don't. I can't type the letter X when I type, like it doesn't feel right to me. It feels like a letter.
Glad you're still doubling the business even with that. And I see the hat with the sticker, man. You guys got some new, I think I saw you post.
I gotta get you one. I have a box full now because I was getting a lot of requests.
Dude, I was literally about to say, I'm probably the biggest hat guy, maybe aside from yourself out here.
We got to do a hat swap, like a jersey swap. I think we should do a hat swap. I have the cereal sales mug. Drink out of it probably like once a week.
Got one right here. Let's take it back a little bit. If you guys heard the podcast that we did before, this is on my personal channel, Sales Bro Pod. We dove a lot more into like Marcus's come up, but we'll dive into it a little bit here again. I know you were in the military. I know you tried a bunch of different business models. We're about the same age.
27?
Yeah, 27. So, this is not your first successful business model, but it was your most successful. Tell us a little bit of all the stuff that you tried before you came into this.
I don't think I said this on the last one, or maybe I did. My gateway drug into the space was day trading. Someone in it's called AIT, which is your advanced initial training, your initial entry training, IET, in the Army. Anyways, he showed me Forex, and I was like, oh shit. Fucking stocks, right? So I got my entry drug through that, and we went half and half. We split a course. And at the time, it was a high ticket course, 400. So we split that course. I went through a whole click funnel. It was my gateway drug into funnels, info, etc. Started to kind of go down the Russell Brunson rabbit hole, the Dean Graziosi rabbit hole, the Ty Lopez rabbit hole, Robert Kiyosaki. Anyways, I ended up becoming an affiliate for that guy in his info business. There was no names for it back then, so which is why I never clocked it in any of my story content out there. I was essentially a setter, a CSM, a closer, and an affiliate marketer at the same time. But I was more like a right-hand man, you know what I mean? So I didn't realize what I was doing, but I was doing DMs in it's a platform called EchoFin. I don't even know if it's still around, but it's kind of like a Discord for trading communities. This is way before WAP, obviously. And I was essentially setting in there trying to sell courses. And I was in college for marketing at the time. And this led me to essentially just go crazy on every business model. FBA, Amazon, dropshipping, Shopify. I had a blog, just myname.com, all of that stuff, complete failure, every single one. I started 2 other agencies that failed. This was all in like a 3 or 4 year span. I got my first real success in like the crypto boom 2020, 2021, just ironically right when I started dating Julia, my now fiance, and that popped off. I was already addicted to Twitter. I've had Twitter since 2011, so 7th grade. And that kind of kept me on the platforms. I was on there for sports. Then I started getting into money Twitter back then, which it didn't really exist as it is now. And then I joined crypto Twitter, which anyone who was like around on Twitter during whole 2021 boom, you should make money. You were just at the forefront. You know what I mean? So I kind of learned how to use the trending topics and trends on Twitter to predict the crypto markets and the NFT markets. So anyways, I made my first bag there. And then once all that came crashing and burning is when I was like, all right, time to start a real business. And that's this business.
Besides being in it was Army, right?
Yeah, Army National Guard.
Besides doing that, did you ever work any customer facing job, like just normal people jobs?
The only job I ever had before that was I worked at like a diner slash bakery slash steak and cheese shop. So I used to do like the toast and bacon in the mornings and then like the steak and cheeses after. But I never had a corporate job. I actually just told my team this the other day. It was right before 2020, 2021. I applied to this like investment firm called MFS in Boston, and I got into the next interview. And I no-showed it. I no-showed it to pursue whatever the business of the month was at the time. But thank God I didn't accept because I probably would have got the job.
Damn. I mean, that's pretty cool then. You're running a $2 million per year business.
I think it's harder. No, I don't know if it's harder, I guess, because I don't have the other side of experience. But like every time your business gets bigger, you have to like almost like corporatize it in a way. Think about it. Like people are like, do I have today off? It's a fucking holiday or tomorrow, 4th of July, when we're recording this. Do I have tomorrow off? I don't know. What's my PTO? I don't fucking know. I don't know any of this. I've never had any of this. I don't know what PTO is, right? So I gotta like learn all of the corporate shit that I didn't realize I needed handbooks, fucking LastPass, OPSEC, cybersecurity bullshit, like all that stuff. I have LastPass open on another tab right now, or OnePass. So I think that part is actually pretty rough from not coming from corporate, because now the business is getting to a point where I need to like stabilize the up side of it, the legality, like all of that.
Dude, at a certain point, that becomes a really big part of it, dude. Like last year, I opened up a few different entities, got into like a few different businesses, and everything associated with that, and starting and maintaining businesses from a legal standpoint, but then having employees, taxes are ridiculous.
I think we have the same wealth manager now. We're about to open up like another LLC for another thing. I'm like, this shit, it goes way over my head.
Yeah, shout out episode, I don't know what, but with Antonio.
You had him on, nice.
Yeah, episode 6. So really solid guy. I was just on with him today, like 2 hours ago. A lot of people who try to start agencies, they're not very successful. But if they are successful, it's not usually very long lasting, because they're in this like client churn hamster wheel situation. And selling B2B, especially when you're taking over potentially a whole CMO division of their company, is not the easiest thing to sell. So what's kind of your bread and butter to retaining some of these big accounts so that you don't have to like chase this hamster wheel thing?
I think a lot of it comes down to pricing and like value exchange. So like for context, I think we've had 0 turns out of 3 of the last 4 months. We have like 93% monthly retention on average this year, which is okay. I think it comes down to value exchange. Like I think Fazio said this once, but it was like they have to make at least like 6x the value for it to be a no-brainer. And another person, Jeremy Haynes, told me, it was like, could actually price your shit accordingly, especially if you're upmarket enough. You can almost price your stuff accordingly. Not enough for it to hurt them, but it's enough for it to make a lot of money for your company. So you can find a sweet spot there. It's this interesting game you play when it comes to pricing. So I think that's part of it. We have a really, really great pricing for what we deliver. I mean, we're doing multiple social medias, driving sales, all this stuff. Think about it. Even if you break even on the sales side, you're getting followers, like you're growing your brand for free. I've kind of found that almost like a cheat code to retention of like our goal, all the prerogative is on us to go and scale you up so that you pay a big rev share. But there's like 99 times out of 100, they're making more from the cash collected than they're paying us anyway. Oh, they look at it, they look at the invoice come in, they're like, actually, I made more than that for Twitter and LinkedIn. So, and I grew my followers, and like, and you cross pollinate all your platforms. And as you go up market to bigger brands, people understand omnipresence on social media. So we have a really great offer for that. So that's kind of like the mindset of it, which I never really thought of when I started. When I first started, I was like, just make people more money than they pay you. But like as I've grown it, I've started to think about that kind of stuff.
Can you like give an example of what you were talking about with Jeremy, like pricing yourself?
For example, you have a consulting offer and it's like $3-4 grand a month, and your people that are in your community are making 50K a month, 50K a month, 70K a month, right? And you're helping them make that, and you're helping them scale up, right? 3K, 4K, whatever is like, that's a number to them that's not that significant. It won't really hurt them, and they can justify the value. And honestly, most of them will fucking forget. 10K a month is not that. 10K a month, you got to deliver some fucking value. You know what I mean? As a percentage of their total incomes, you can price accordingly to that. You know what I mean? I think this is like something that people know at the highest level. Think about McKinsey. They're sending fucking $1 million invoices, but when you're working with $100 billion organizations, like they see $1 million, like, yeah, whatever. It's McKinsey. They're bringing some value, right?
Did you see that? I think it was a tweet or something. It was a big consulting firm like that was advising HBO to change their name. They went from like HBO
to Max, back to HBO Max, to Max to HBO.
And then in that process, that consulting firm, it's one of the big ones. I'm blanking on the name, but they build them for like tens and tens of millions of dollars just to like.
Yes, dude. This is why I look at it and I'm like, dude, there's so many industries like this that are just ripe for the taking for like the young guns that are up and coming. And like people overcomplicate how to actually sell at high price points. You don't even have to have that great of a product. Like if there's these billion-dollar firms that consult and tell them to like move their font one color code in one direction, and they just justify it with some bullshit market research and some bullshit psychology. And most of these companies that are paying you are just writing off taxes anyway. You know what I mean? So like the sales game becomes like, it's very, you can be very witty with it. You know what I mean?
You were saying earlier, even if you just break even, you're still building your brand and this and this and this, like, and this is tax deduction and you're building.
I've used that. My December sales calls are all fucking tax deduction talk. Just pay for the first quarter, bro. I usually sell at least a couple of quarter packages right at the end of the year. Like it's December, just pay for the whole Q1 and you get a huge freaking write-off out of it.
That's what I've been telling people for this podcast, newsletter, all of it. It's cheap, but it's also a tax deduction. It's free evergreen exposure. So if you're listening to this and you want to advertise, let us know. But
I used to work with this accounting client, and I won't dox him too much. Basically, his consulting program, tech, whatever the hell he was selling, counted towards what's called like continuing education towards your CPA. So you as a CPA have to keep your CPA license renewed and active. And instead of doing whatever fucking stupid courses you can do, his program literally counted towards that. So it was like two birds, one stone. So he's like, not only can you expense this, it's going to count towards your education. You were going to spend that money anyway. Sales should be that easy. So if you could just use the offer and like make it common sense almost, you know what I mean?
When you're selling this, and I want to get into some of the stuff that you see given what you sell, but it's like, yeah, you could take the angle of like, you pay us this much, we make you this much. But really, a lot of what you're doing is like, yeah, you pay us this much and we make you this much, but you're also getting this and this and this and this. And for that reason, it's like, it's kind of a no-brainer, you know?
I feel like in sales, or at least this is maybe like more of a product development thing, but always looking for like, what additional value can I provide with very minimal effort? It's like a leverage play. And I can give you an example of this. For example, it's like, okay, we're going to be doing all your written content, but on the back end, I can pay a designer, XYZ a month or AI system to turn all of the written content we're doing to you into still images that you can use on Instagram. And we did this. And now it's almost taking care of a percentage of a whole additional platform for no additional cost. So it's like, by the way, we also do your LinkedIn. By the way, we also can automate this to go to threads.net. By the way, we can automate this to go to Blue Sky. By the way, you also get the images for Instagram. By the way, you actually get all the SOPs for how to repurpose this to Instagram and TikTok, which we still do. It's like there's so many by the ways. They're like, all right, dude, fuck off. Like, just take my money.
Is Threads really called threads.net?
Yeah, it's so ass.
Yeah, that sucks.
I have to write threads.net on my Slack messages because people think of like Twitter threads.
What is threads.com?
I have no idea.
No, it's Threads.
Does he have threads.com?
Yeah, I mean, it just took me to the Threads.
Oh, that's crazy.
Hold on, what happens if I go to .net?
Does he still have .net? It was threads.
I think it just redirected to .com.
Oh, nice. Well, there you go. They have threads.com too. I still probably going to say .net because people know .net now.
Threads by Meta.
I'm going to still have to say .com, you know what I mean? I can't just say threads.
If it's from Twitter to X, are tweets still tweets? Are threads still threads? You're the person to ask on that. Besides Elon, like, you're the person to ask. Like, what is it?
You'll see my content's very interchangeable. Like, sometimes the problem when I say post, when I say the word post, I feel like an AI. So I say tweet, but when I say tweet, people are going to think I'm behind. Like, oh, he's not up with the times. It's almost like they talk to two different ICPs. Like post talks to a very traditional person. When I say tweet, it kind of talks to the person who's actually in the community. I don't know, man. I think it's I think it's still tweet, to be honest. It's still Twitter thread. It's still tweet and thread. I don't care.
Same for me. All right, guys, let's pause just for a sec and talk about the sponsor of this week's podcast, the Serial Sales Community. Let's face it, you're probably in way too many meetings. Not like meetings where you're selling, but internal meetings. Meetings that have you sitting and thinking why you're in so many meetings because you could be spending that time selling and making more money for yourself and the company you sell for. Sometimes these meetings come off a little league coach, rah, motivational, or sometimes they're just dogging on the worst performing rep. Either way, you don't get much out of them. The reason I'm talking about meetings is because in the 1099 remote appointment setting or closing space, there's a lot less of them, meaning you have more time to sell. You have more time to write your own paycheck. Now, I could sit here and tell you, yeah, you can make this much money and do this and do that. But what I'm going to talk about right now is just the fact that you can be remote, not hybrid, not 3 days in the office, 2 days out, not 3 days out of the office, 2 days in, 100% remote in different countries, continents. So not only can you spend more time selling, you can be 100% remote and choose how much you make. That's what we focus on in the Serial Sales Community. We don't do it through sales training. We do it through an upfront service offering that helps you have the best chance at getting hired into the best roles before anyone else knows about them. If you're interested in that at all, go down to the second link in the description here, click on it, watch the video, and then book a call to chat with the team if it makes sense. Mention because of sales for 5% off. Now back to the podcast. I'm curious with you, kind of like getting into the sales stuff a little deeper. You're potentially here the largest content writing agency specifically for Twitter and LinkedIn and that. But I'm sure just like everybody else, man, you get on calls with people who may have not gone through as much nurturing as others. And they're like, okay, well, why would I work with you if this person is promising this, this, and this, and they're cheaper and I don't know you? How do you handle that? Because I know you're from a sales approach, you're generally a pretty laid back guy. I don't see you hard closing people. Like, how do you deal with that?
I honestly think it's all psychology, in my opinion. At least the people that I'm going to work with think like big brands. Most of them are already making a fuck ton of money. For the most part, these people want to, sounds like weird. These people like want to feel like safe in your hands. They want to feel like you're the guy. You're going to take care of them. You know what you're talking about. So sometimes it depends on the person. Like some people will come in all ears and just want to like hear the pitch. Some people like come off very standoffish. And then the way to get over that is essentially to like out aura them. Almost like they ask you some hard question and then you give them like a side answer and then ask them a hard question. I think it literally is like an aura off sometimes where it's like, who's going to lose the authority here? And I think the way that we always win that, or I always win that, is like, I don't actually need them. And I think that helps a lot in sales, is like the lack of neediness. Anyone can smell desperation. I can smell desperation. I also can smell scripts. So for me, if you have any ounce of desperation or like neediness, they're going to then just reclaim all the authority in that call. And now they're negotiating price. And now they're freaking saying, what about this? What about this? What about this? The way I look at it is like, I'm selling the solution. Here is the solution to your problem. Yes or no. There's not like a, yeah, but this, yeah, but we do it the best, so we do it this way. And that's another thing. You gotta believe your shit is the best. Like, it's conviction, right? If you believe your product is the best, you can kind of like not fake that aura. You know what I mean?
We just had Gabe on. I know you know Gabe.
Which, Gabe Plugas?
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're talking about that conviction in the product. So it's safe to say you have 110% conviction in what you guys do and that you guys are like the best.
100%. And I think part of that has come from niching down to the people we want to work with, because if someone comes to me and they're not a good fit, I just dish them out to someone else. I go to one of my 2 friends in the industry. And if they are a good fit, it's like, well, we're the best, so work with us. I remember someone asked me, like, probably the biggest person we work with right now asked me, like, why should we work with you? Like, well, we're the best. I'm like, if you go somewhere else, it's going to be worse. And I'm dead serious. So, you know, a lot of it comes down to that conviction. I mean that shit too. I'm like, we are literally the best. No client has ever left the birdhouse, and I say this with a full grace. No client has ever left and like went on to grow a fuck ton on Twitter or LinkedIn. If they were going to grow, they would have grown with us. You know what I mean? It's like our solution works for certain people, and if it's not working, it's because you're not working on the platform. Straight up. You're just not Twitter, LinkedIn, man.
What's it like getting on calls with, I'm not going to name any names, but I'm sure you've been on some calls with some pretty high profile people. What are those calls like compared to someone who just like kind of a nobody, runs a business, maybe they make money, but like, how do you go about talking to those high profile people?
I've worked on this a lot. Like, I think it's easy to get intimidated, especially if they're like actually big. Big to the point like where you know them. I think big's contextual, right? I've talked to some people that are big and I had no idea who they were. So like I just treated them normal. But if I knew they were big or they were like in my circle of consumption, sometimes you get like that weird feeling in your stomach. You're like, fuck, I know this guy's big. Honestly, it comes like, I try to just approach it like they're a normal problem, like very problem solution, like more logical. It's always problem solution, but if it's not a big person, I can like actively just do it naturally without thinking about it. But if it's someone like that, I have to think like, okay, problem, solution, and that's it, and just hope that I don't fuck it up. But I do think some of these guys, I have talked to some big names who would just like come in with a little bit of like, not rudeness, but like standoffishness. They don't know you. You're not in the circle. They're always coming from referral. You're not getting a big name that comes in without referral in my experience. So that's also part of it, is they're almost always from a referral. So I can usually connect off of that.
Okay, let's just say I'm going to make up someone. Grant Cardone comes through a referral and he's like, yo, dude, I want to grow on X. And you're like, bet. Do you just shoot them off a Calendly link, or do you even go about booking the call differently with these big people?
I 100% do. If it's someone like that, I say, you can call me here, or I can jump on like a call on your calendar. Let me know. My experience, most of these big names have either an assistant / calendar that they have set up, or they just want to get it fucking done. And actually, it's how you like sell to rich people, but I'll usually just give them my number, a biz number, obviously, or I'll like work around you, whatever. That's another thing, is for these big names, I 100% do way more prep on big names, always.
Are you pulling up with the collared shirt, or are you hoodie maxing?
I'm always hoodie maxing. Yeah, I'm always hoodie maxing. One thing I won't compromise is like value on business. And I got into this shit to dress like this. You know what I mean? Like, I got into business to not be told what to wear. And my team's the same way. I tell them the whole point of building this business is that you guys don't have to do that. So I won't compromise that for sure. But I 100% do prep on big names. Anytime I've gotten anyone that's like very big, I'm watching some videos, I'm checking out everything, making sure I can connect with them, know a little bit about their story, their offer, all that shit.
Let's talk a little bit about selling through writing, because a lot of the people listening to this, like salespeople, business owners doing well, they sell through phone, video. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on like selling through writing, and maybe the most applicable use case would be email, you know, like through CRM Blast or whatever. But you have some badass writers on your team who are really good at this, and obviously you yourself are good at this. But like to the average person who, you know, can type well and can speak English well, like what are they probably not doing in their writing when they're trying to sell that they should 100% try to get better at, focus on, or implement?
I think when it comes to writing, is like the biggest mistake I see people make when they write is they're trying to write well. But in my opinion, there's two ways to write. You have to write for an outcome, or you have to just write the way you talk. So I think the biggest mistake people make in email or text or anything like that is they try to write like it's content. But in my opinion, any personal writing, so email, text, stuff like that, should be written as if you're talking, like you're talking to a friend. Whereas content's different. I think content and writing are two different things. I think that's my biggest advice. Just write how you speak. Your slang, your pauses, your lingo, everything should be like how you speak. They should be able to read it in your voice, and you should have personal touch in there. So I think that's like the biggest advice. It's kind of vague, but like for me personally, I can't read emails that sound like copy. It's not my thing. I consider myself like a B2B person. Like if you're selling to me, you're selling B2B, right? If I look at it and it reads like a VSL, I'm not getting through the first 5 sentences. But if it reads like you're texting me, I'm definitely going to read it.
Definitely. Even with cold pitches, cold emails, same.
I think too, it's a market awareness, right? I think if you're hitting a market that has no idea about marketing, like they've never been through a funnel in their life, you can hit them with all the traditional funnels and sequences. But if you're talking to someone like me or you, we've been around the block. There needs to be a pattern interrupt, and that pattern interrupt is probably like lowercase subject line that says like what's good.
Yeah, that's how I write to my email list. It's good practice too, man. I feel like I've started to write to my email list more recently, not the because of sales one, but my personal, and super good practice to learn how to get my thoughts, communicate thoughts, improve my writing. I wanted to ask you about that as well. For you or your team, are there resources that you guys use to like get better at writing or train writing?
Funny enough, I think it's like all platform based. It depends where you're going to write. In our context, in order to get better at writing on Twitter, you have to be a consumer on Twitter. And this is one of my number one messages. Unless you're freaking one of like the greats, top 0.01% of creators, you're not just going to be able to create whatever the fuck you want and it works. I know that's the fantasy that most people sell, is like, just be yourself and do what you want. That works, but you should probably play the game first to learn what's going on. So for us, people don't understand. It's like, we're doing this at scale. Who was that big fitness guy that he basically like did all the raw style? He like popularized the raw style again. You know who I'm talking about? The huge bodybuilder guy who did all of like the raw vlogs. He like made it. I can't remember his name.
Sam Sulek.
Sam Sulek. Yeah. So like, I don't like when people trick people into thinking they are Sam Sulek. Just because it's working for him does not mean it can work for you at scale. So my point is, in order to train like Twitter writing, for example, you have to consume all of the best tweets, the biggest meme pages, the biggest media pages, the biggest personal brands, and like synthesize what's working across all these industries and then try to apply them to each client. And I think that applies to every platform. You do the same thing for LinkedIn, and the same thing you can do for email. So like, what's working for these 5 people in my industry or in my adjacent industry on email, and so on and so forth. So like, basically like training on the job rather than trying to like go to take a course and go in AI. I never did any of that.
What's the state of the algorithm, man? Because X is cooked. The X algorithm is just way different than it was like 2 years ago, right? Even LinkedIn, we were talking before this, it's like you hardly ever see my stuff. I honestly hardly ever see your stuff, but I know we're both posting. So it's like, if anyone is out here watching this, they're like, I sell on Twitter, I sell on LinkedIn, or I want to use it to build a brand so I can sell more, whatever. What's working?
Right now, the quote unquote algorithm is heavily trend based. So you really need to put your content into buckets, and that's going to be like your middle funnel, bottom of funnel stuff, which is essentially most of the time going to be like your actually on subject stuff. And then you're going to have trending content. So I tweeted this not too long ago. I'm going to just read the tweet too, because it's pretty useful. Organic marketing 101 right now is using your trending content to gain virality, and then you use social proof and your expertise to nurture and convert new audience, and then you just repeat. And this is very apparent. I think my best performing tweet in the past month was about the WAP acquisition by Iman. And I think another one of my best performing tweets is Iman buying consulting.com, and like my commentary on that, because it's in my industry. The only logical explanation for that is that was something that was trending at the time, and I took advantage of that. This has remained true for years, but right now more than ever, is like, you need to be finger on the button for what's going on, because it's essentially context. Like, the world moves so freaking fast. This actually happened today. Well, as we're recording this today, like, I don't know if you don't watch soccer. Do you? So Diogo Jota is a Liverpool player. He passed away today, which is fucking crazy. Like, probably the biggest soccer player to pass away while playing in his prime since in my lifetime. Literally like an hour later, I saw a whole tweet about something completely different in soccer. It was like, hey, by the way, Arsenal's about to buy this player. I was just like, Jesus fucking, let it simmer, dude. It moves so fast. Like 2 weeks ago, there's a freaking bombing in some Middle Eastern country, and now today we're talking about something else. My point is, it moves that X is literally the news platform. It's the #1 news app on the App Store. In the context of X, you have to be finger on the button to succeed. And this is why you see a lot of these blue and green and purple and schizophrenic AI AI faceless Twitter accounts popping right now because AI is always fucking on the button right now. So you need to find ways to bring your tweets into the context of what's going on in the world now, or in your industry if you want to do it at a smaller scale. Like, I don't have to go tweet about freaking Israel to get impressions, but I can tweet about the WAP acquisition. I'm not getting 9 million views, but that tweet got like 250,000 views because I was talking about what was in context now for info. So that's kind of what you have to do on these written platforms specifically, because they don't have the TikTok swipe algorithm that Reels and Shorts and TikTok have.
So that brings up a good point, because with the newsletter for Because of Sales, part of the weekly newsletter is keeping people updated on recent events, news, tools, tips, tricks, and just like memes of what salespeople are doing, what's working, what they should try. But also the people listening to this, let's say they sell some cybersecurity solution. They're like, dude, I want to know everything that's going on in cyber as it pertains to you, your agency, and your clients. Like, are there any systems that you put in place for the clients or for your writers where it's like, hey, this is where we get our news from, like this is where we pay attention to things, and what does that look like if so?
We have like some systems like RSS feeds per platform, so you can set up custom RSS feeds, and then they essentially just link to these companies' platforms. So like, you can go to like Amazon has tons of public RSS feeds that you can funnel, and you can create Slack channels that they funnel to. It's all ingrained. You don't even got to zap it. So that's like one way we've tried it. To be honest, like the most effective way that we found it, just because we're a team, so this is something unique to us. We essentially have like a collective swipe file where everyone is just constantly sending what they're seeing. So like whatever you're seeing is obviously working. You can't possibly see something on the For You page that isn't working. Like, it's very, very rare that you're put in that. I don't know if this is like super nerdy algorithm talk, but the way the algorithm works is it works in clusters. So when a tweet goes out, it goes to like a cluster 1, and that could be like the first 1,000 people that see it, or 200 people. Whenever your tweets get like 200 views, that was cluster 1. Those 200 people didn't fucking like it or engage with it, which is why it didn't make it to cluster 2. So if you ever see anything on your For You page with like 0 likes, you're in cluster 1. I forget what the actual term is. I wrote a blog on this. My point is, we're constantly sending what we see on the For You page because we're all in similar spaces, and we all have our clients' accounts like all up in our For You page. We all have client lists, so we're able to see what's going on in those industries, and then we're sending them to our swipe file on Slack manually because we're all doom scrolling. I think this is like was essentially the thesis of my business in the first place, was just monetizing my addiction. So like that's kind of like the more effective way, but I have hired people from big newsletters. This is good for you. I've hired people that worked at huge like AI newsletters, and they have told me that those companies were all using RSS feeds that were aggregating news from a bunch of different sources. So like, for example, if you're writing a newsletter on sales, you're aggregating sales and tech news from like 50 different, 100 different, New York Times this, BBC that, and then you're aggregating that to write stuff. Those are the two solutions.
Yeah, we're in the process of building some stuff like that right now, some AI RSS related stuff. There's a few things I wanted to talk about more, but you brought me into wondering. Yeah, I know you're talking about cluster 1, cluster 2. Is there any secret X/Twitter alpha that you know about that the average person doesn't, on like how it works or anything like that?
For sure.
Like, I don't know if you're in talks with Elon at all, but like, I don't know, it's worth an ask.
There's a lot of practical stuff that people just don't know. And I think this just comes with not being an expert. But like, for example, you can pin a tweet and it'll show to all your followers. Did you know that? Like, that's a great one that people don't really think about. But I think the main thing is like X is so they got rid of hashtags. So in order to get rid of hashtags, they literally made hashtags like hurt your profile. It's in the algorithm. So don't use hashtags. But in order to replace that, everything is based on like the text. The alpha is that if something is trending, it's not just the topic that's trending, it's the literal word that's trending. So when you go on your algorithm, you go to trending, like right now, you go to your thing and you're like trending. And there's all sorts of words here. Those actual words are what's trending. So like, for example, the word waste is trending. I literally will use that word in the hook because that specific string of letters is what is trending. Does that make sense? The way trends work, and I kind of learned this like 9th grade. You might have seen this. This is a really great example of this, right? You ever saw where like whenever Instagram went down, everyone would come to Twitter and say Instagram down, and then it's like everyone coming to Twitter from Instagram, and it's like the picture of the video of everyone running down the escalators, and they would go fucking crazy viral. It's because everyone's searching Instagram down on Twitter. So if you typed Instagram down, I've literally tried this. I've gotten virality from it. I've gotten organic virality from it. So that is like probably the biggest alpha. It's like everything's word trend based, and it's like this on Threads now too. I've noticed you could actually follow word trends now on Threads, which is interesting. You can't do that on Twitter. So you can make, you can make lists on X. You can make a list on Threads for the specific word. So I can just type the word viral. You'll have a whole list that's just posts on Threads about the word viral, which is also interesting. So anyways, that's the big alpha.
That would be super cool if you could do that on X. Because I know with list, the fault of that is like when you get put on a list, it tells the person that they put you on that list, right?
Mm.
I've had people put me on a list that says agency leads, and like, well, maybe that's a method, like letting them
I
know.
low key think it's a method. I do that shit. I have a list called prospects, and if you are added to it, you're my prospect, and then it just like puts me. They just start seeing me.
The guys that do this, like, they're probably not using it as that method. They probably just don't know that it's telling me.
And they name it like horrible idiot business owners that I'm trying to reach, or like cat. They name the list like future money, like, and they're gonna
I've been added to lists where it's like competition. It's just, it's hilarious, dude.
That's pretty funny, actually.
No, but that's crazy. So if I pin a tweet, will for sure go on every person who follows me page.
Yeah, if you scroll long enough, you'll see it pop up sometimes on your feed where it's like pinned posts from people you follow. And it'll only show like the people you follow's recent pin posts.
This is cool stuff because, like, I mean, a lot of people listening to this probably use the app, but I wouldn't be surprised if people listening to this sell through the app, sell for someone through the app. Let's like go a little bit more zoomed out, talking about the clients who sell, because you're kind of the guy behind a lot of online high ticket sales in the coaching consulting services niche. You guys are really good with stats. I don't know though if you have the numbers where it's like, oh yeah, you know, last month we were behind this much in sales, but do you kind of have an idea of like how much volume you guys are behind?
That's the part of the business that we've been heavily focused on this past year, which is leading to us doubling our business. It's just becoming much more in the weeds. Like I used to have, for example, I used to have one channel with clients. Now every client has like fucking 3 channels, call automation channel. We actually recently hired a director of client sales who directly works with all of our clients, like BDR, SDRs. One thing I realized is that most of the industry doesn't know shit about Twitter and LinkedIn because just most of the industry either comes from dialing or Instagram DMs or like Facebook Messenger or closing calls. Very few people are like LinkedIn Twitter setters. So I hired someone who specifically is managing those people and like helping SDRs and BDRs navigate like sales nav and stuff. But were you asking about how much we're behind?
Across all your clients, monthly, quarterly, how much are you guys responsible for?
I think last year we were behind a little over 3 million. This year we'll probably double that. And then we're also behind over 1,000 calls like every quarter. Now it's like we're actually behind like 600, 700 calls a month right now. It's becoming just a lot more. Everything's just going up. We have a lot. I think we have like 4 or 5 clients now that are doing just like 100K months directly from like LinkedIn. You know what I mean? It's just like it's becoming really big. And yeah. So I tried to position the business. I could have hyperscaled this a long time ago, like 40 clients, fucking 5K a month, congrats. Like, but I never wanted to do that. I kind of put ourselves in a position where we have the authority to just turn people away, but we have the retention to maintain a certain client base, and then we just value capture the growth of these platforms anyways. Like Twitter and LinkedIn are growing platforms. We're early. We're like 1/5 the size of Instagram. So being able to capture that, my logic honestly years ago was like, if Twitter 5X's, my business will 5X. And that's held true. So we're 2Xing every year without Twitter growing 2X. Twitter grows like 10%. So if we 2X every time Twitter grows 10%, we're going to be golden.
Is that a real stat, dude? Twitter and LinkedIn are like...
Yeah. Instagram, 2.5 billion users. Twitter grew. Twitter's like 600 plus million now. It gets to 1 billion on world events. Basically, anytime a nuke goes off, it gets to like 1 billion because people run to the platform. But generally, monthly active is like 600 million. Threads is less. Threads like 200 million. LinkedIn, I think, is like 300 million. My numbers might be off, but I know the X one is true.
What about Facebook? You know?
Oh, Facebook's a lot. I think Facebook's like 3 billion or some shit, maybe more.
I honestly thought Twitter was like up there with Instagram, but
that's what people don't think. It's because, well, think about Twitter is like you can post so much. So there's probably more posts going out on Twitter than anything else because some of these freaking news accounts are posting every minute, literally every minute, which is insane. You know, Instagram, you post like twice a day, 3 times a day max. I know Grant Cardone posts like 8 times a day on Facebook. I went to his event and he gave us the frequency, but he's posting like 8 times a day on Facebook or something. But Twitter, you can post 8 times an hour.
There's a viral clip of him talking about that. He's like, how many times do you post? They're like, I don't know what the guy said. He's like, once a day or this many times a week. He's like, I post 8 times a day. That's why I'm doing 8 times as much.
Yeah. He's like, it's 100% true. When I went to the Grant Cardone event, I went for like 1 day. I went for like half a day. I just wanted to hear Grant speak, which I did. It was very motivating. He has his frequency in the pamphlet. It's over there in my closet. It was like fucking 8 times Facebook, 4 times YouTube, 50 times X, weekly spaces, and 8 time Reel, 9 time TikTok, 42 emails a day. It was nuts, dude. Nuts. Like it makes you feel like shit. You're like, Holy fuck, I'm not doing enough. And this leads to my tweet the other day, which I think is a really good tweet. This is like, it sounds salesy, but it's not. It was like, you cannot have one of the biggest brands without a team. It's not possible. It's just not possible, dude. I don't think of any big brand has a massive team, like Cody Sanchez, Alex Hormozy. Like, these guys are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month into their creative teams. It's just not possible. I can't even help people get to the frequency that Grant's at by myself. There's just no way. And I'm an agency. You would need like 4 of us to hit that frequency.
He probably spends $1 million a year on content,
I think you're undershooting. I think he spends $1 million a month. They're gonna do $750 million this year.
in just info.
No, total. I think info's $150 million.
And that's including like real estate and everything.
Yeah, total is like 750. I think info only will be 150, and they're gonna profit 50.
Jesus, dude.
I think he's spending $1 million a month on content, at least.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who like buys his info anymore. Obviously, people are.
Yeah, so many people were at the event, dude, too. It was wild. Bro, their sales process, I mean, this is like a because of sales thing, but like their sales process was fucking dialed. Like, just in line to get my freaking credentials, I was getting people walking up to us trying to sell VIP. They were trying to upsell us VIP while in line to get the general admission.
In person is different, man. You're not like traditional suit and tie sales guy, yet you've sold a lot and built a pretty damn good life because of it. We're talking about the house you just got. All the renovations are super sick. You're out, like, got your own space in the country, kind of. Because you learned how to sell things and how to leverage that skill, like, what can you attribute that to in your life?
I think sales is the foundation of everything. It really is. I feel like the first ever big sale I made, I told the guy, I'm not a sales guy. And then by the end, he sold and he's like, you're definitely a sales guy. And I think that was the day I realized that you don't have to be a sales guy to be. I think you talk about this where like a lot of introverts can be good at sales. I didn't realize it at the time, but I realized I might have something here with my sales. Like, I think that actually I might be good at sales, because that was the time I realized that sales isn't like extrovert tactic or trying to be like pressure people, when I realized it was more logic and conversation and like common sense. But yeah, sales definitely was the foundation for that. And shout out my fiance, because of sales, we were able to get a lot bigger house than I would have been able to get by myself. We've done combined 5 million in our careers together. It's been 3.5 years.
Oh, yeah, dude, we got to have her on too.
You should get her on. And she's good at sales.
Yeah, I actually I don't know anything about, like, I know what the business generally does, but I know some people here in Austin that started working with her recently, which is.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm sure you probably know her friend April. Like, they're like best friends. So
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I gotta reach out, have some people on. But all right, cool. So you learned how to sell a little bit. It helped you a lot.
Dude, 100%. Oh, I always say, actually, I need to make a YouTube video on this. I want to make a YouTube video that says, like, if you're basically like appointment settings, the best gateway drug into the space, because you just freaking send DMs from your cell phone. But I always say, if I would start it over, I would do appointment setting. Because I personally think I could rip like 3 offers at the same time to like $15K a month in commissions.
I know people doing that right now.
Yeah, I 100% think I could do it, and I would probably get a freaking AI army helping me and like all sorts of shit. And I employ setters, well, my clients employ setters that I help them hire, that we know they're using teams and AIs and all sorts of shit helping them. We don't give a fuck. Like, don't care. Good for you, dude. Are you making us money or not?
If you guys are listening to this and you don't know what remote appointment setting, DM setting is, like, hopefully we just change the course of your life, because you can sit at home, type messages on your phone, and make a lot of money doing that for multiple people at the same time.
Best entry level job in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, a lot of the best, some of the biggest coaches or agency owners that I know now started by appointment setting.
I would literally, sometimes you ever heard that tweet where it's like, men fantasize about everything crashing and burning? That's me. So like, if I had to start over, I would literally be an appointment setter, and I would also start some bullshit faceless TikTok, YouTube brand type shit, and just make like ad revenue, because there's like 2 ghost jobs of you're just chilling on your computer and your phone, probably have CS:GO cases on the other screen. Like, I just think that's like the dream. You can hack your way to 20K a month like that. I swear to God.
Dude, there's so much opportunity. Last thing before we tell people where to follow you, where are you trying to take the birdhouse? Like, short term and long term?
Doubling every year is my goal right now. My short-term goal. So we're on track to double for the 4th year in a row. I would like to do that again for next year, and again the year after that, and that'll land us right around 8 figures. But honestly, like, I'm trying to build just the sickest marketing company. Like, we've had a huge focus on culture. We've just recruited a bunch of sick people to our company, and everybody loves their job in the company, and they love their life in the company. And that's what I strive to be, is build a company that people love working at, and just build the sickest marketing company that actually understands content the way they should. Other than that, I don't have like a super sappy mission yet. I'll probably be at 8 figures before I have a freaking take over the world mission like Elon. But
all right, last question, because I'm actually genuinely interested and curious. When does the Birdhouse get to the point where you guys implement video, Instagram, YouTube? You've probably thought about it. It's a whole undertaking.
it's either at like 5 or 10 mil a year. We're probably, I think we can get away with it for at least one more year. Trust me, it's our most requested service is Instagram and video. I really do think we could crush video because I have the vision for it, but I don't have like the expertise or the infrastructure to deploy it. And I just think there's so much left for us to get in our Twitter, LinkedIn, and now Threads just launched their Threads DM feature. I'm like, fuck, that's a whole nother beast to slay. But I do think it's inevitable. I think being full stack is 100% the vision eventually. But I think if I had to take a bet, it's probably like an over under 2 years there. I'd probably take the over though.
Go Eddie Maloof style and just acquire someone and just bring it in.
Yeah, that's 100. Because like I said, I want to do it, but I just don't want to do it the cringe way that a lot of people are doing it. No offense to them.
Yeah.
But like the way we've treated what we do now is like such an art, and I don't want to like compromise that just to add video. So when we do video, we'll do it right.
All right, dude. Where do people find you?
Yeah, at it's Marcos Ruiz on all platforms. So ITS Marcos Ruiz on all platforms.
Cool. That's all I got, man. Congrats on the blue belt.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. I always say like I liked being the underrated white belt. So now being a blue belt's a little bit sus because now like no one's gonna underrate me at the gym.
Yeah.
I'm officially a super beginner.
There you go, dude. Well, no, I appreciate you coming on. A little bit of a different episode, not traditional sales guy, but dude, you figured out how to sell something and you're doing pretty well because of that. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, hope people got value. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that's it. That's the pod. Episode 15 with Marcos Ruiz, CEO of the Birdhouse. Really solid guy running a pretty cool business that he seems super passionate about. Always good catching up with him. Not a traditional sales guy, but he sold enough for him and his whole team to do pretty well. So definitely a different perspective in this one, I would say. All of Marcos's links are going to be down below. So go follow him, go connect with him, go learn from him. And my last ask of you guys, as it is every single week, just go down below and subscribe to our free newsletter. You won't regret it. You'll be better because of it. Your boss will be happy to hear you did it, and it'll make me happy too. So it's free. Always get better, have more fun doing it, create more leverage, create your dream life through sales, not a prison. That's what I did. That's how I became financially free at 26 years old. And that's how I've afforded everything that I want and more, both material and non-material. So go down to that first link in the description, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week. Peace.